Hey there, to those who still keep the lights off. Tonight, we're diving into the kind of stories where silence screams louder than words, where ordinary houses hide things you're better off not knowing. The tales I tell aren't just legends, they're echoes of what really happened, and maybe still does. So, if you hear a noise behind you, don't turn around. Just listen.
Did you know one Halloween, a man decorated his house with real human bodies and no one realized it for weeks? In a quiet neighborhood where people went all out for Halloween every year, one house stood out above the rest. Parents brought their kids to take pictures. Teenagers filmed TikToks out front. The owner, a quiet man in his 40s, just smiled when people complimented him. He said he worked in special effects. By mid-November, neighbors started to complain about a foul smell. They thought maybe an animal had died under the porch, or that he'd left the pumpkins to rot. But when an officer went to do a welfare check, he noticed something strange. Inside, they found what looked like a workshop. Tables lined with tools, buckets of chemicals, and dozens of photos. He'd been preserving real bodies for years, pulling them from abandoned areas, even luring some himself. And for 3 Halloweens in a row, hundreds of people smiled, took selfies, and congratulated a killer, without ever realizing they were standing next to his victims.
You know what's the most disturbing part of this story? It's not the killing, it's the smiling. People took selfies, posted TikToks, laughed, and no one realized they were standing right next to the dead. It's not a horror movie, it's a celebration of ignorance, where death became decoration. He said he worked in special effects, yeah, except the effects were real, and I think he liked it. He liked watching people admire his art. Maybe that's why he never hid the bodies. He wanted them seen. He wanted fear to become part of the fun. Sometimes evil doesn't hide. It stands under the spotlight, smiles, and waits for you to hit like.
Did you know that Halloween began over 2,000 years ago with an ancient Celtic festival called Samhain? The Celts believed that on the night of October 31st, the barrier between the living and the dead grew thin, allowing spirits to walk the earth. To protect themselves, people lit massive bonfires and wore frightening masks to confuse the wandering souls. They believed disguises would keep the dead from recognizing them, and offerings of food were left outside homes to satisfy restless spirits. When Christianity spread, the church tried to replace Samhain with All Saints' Day, calling the night before it All Hallows' Eve, which over time became Halloween. Traditions like carving jack-o'-lanterns came from Irish folklore about Stingy Jack, a man doomed to wander the earth with only a hollowed-out turnip glowing with fire. When Irish immigrants came to America, they discovered pumpkins bigger and easier to carve, and the tradition stuck. Trick-or-treating also has deep roots, tied to old practices of children going door to door, offering prayers for the dead in exchange for food. Today, we see Halloween as costumes, candy, and haunted houses, but at its core, it began as a night of fear when the dead were thought to roam among the living.
Funny, isn't it? We dress up, decorate our homes, eat candy, and rarely think about how it all began. For the Celts, Halloween wasn't about fun. It was a night when the dead really came back. Masks weren't for play, they were protection. A way to make death pass you by. Now we wear the same masks, but we laugh. We invite the dark in, make jokes with it, take pictures in its arms. But maybe some small part of us still remembers why the fires burned till morning, why food was left outside the door. Because if the line between the living and the dead ever did grow thin, who's to say it hasn't again?
This is a true story. Did you know that every Halloween season in the United States, an old woman named Edna Betty reappears on the streets pretending to be frightened by the house decorations? She falls to the ground, faints, seems fragile, harmless, but that's exactly what she wants you to think. When neighbors rush to help her, Edna suddenly gets up, injects a tranquilizer into the victim's neck, and drags them into an old, rusty van parked nearby. Days later, the bodies are found without organs and with their tongues split in two, as if it were the killer's signature. Investigators claim she has been seen in more than 6 different states, always between the end of October and the beginning of November. The wrinkled face, the floral scarf, and Edna's empty stare appear in security cameras from entire neighborhoods, always smiling before she disappears. Police suspect that Edna might actually be a 30-year-old woman disguised as an old lady, but no one really knows who she is. So if you see an old woman collapsed in front of your house this Halloween, don't get close.
The terrifying part isn't that people disappear. It's that evil can wear the face of weakness, and no one suspects a thing. We fear the ones who attack, not the ones who collapse and beg for help. Halloween is a celebration of masks, but maybe that's what makes it so eerily human. We enjoy pretending to be monsters, forgetting that the real ones are already among us. Edna Betty isn't just a story. She's a reminder that evil isn't always ugly. Sometimes it smells like flowers, wears an old scarf, and smiles when you reach out to help. In a world where trust is a luxury, even kindness can cost you your life. So this Halloween, if someone falls in front of your house, think twice who you're saving, a person or the darkness itself wearing a human face.
This is a true story. In 1963, a 6-year-old boy stabbed his sister and never spoke another word. He was sent to a sanitarium. For 15 years, he never said a word, not even once. One stormy night in 1978, he escaped. No one saw it coming. He stole a mask, coveralls, and a car. Then he drove to his hometown. That Halloween night, people began to feel watched, but they didn't know by who. One by one, he began to follow them, and then they started disappearing. Dr. Loomis, the psychiatrist who studied him, said it best. I met this 6-year-old child with his blank, pale, emotionless face. While others partied, a girl was babysitting, but someone was already inside the house. No matter how fast you run, he just walks, and somehow he always catches up. They shot him 6 times. He fell off a balcony. When they checked, he was gone. Every Halloween, someone swears they see a man in a white mask, just standing there. If you ever see him, don't blink, don't turn away, don't even breathe.
Some stories never die, they just wait. In 1963, a 6-year-old boy looked into the eyes of evil and became it. One moment, one knife, and his childhood was gone forever. He never spoke again. 15 years of silence, but evil doesn't sleep. It waits, and one stormy night it broke free. He put on a mask, hiding what was left of his humanity, and went home to the place where it all began. People were laughing, decorating, celebrating Halloween, not knowing that death was already walking among them. He didn't run. He just walked, slowly, quietly. And that's what made it terrifying, because you can't outrun silence. Dr. Loomis once said, "I met this child with this blank, pale, emotionless face." Since then, every Halloween, someone swears they've seen him, a figure in a white mask, standing still, watching. If you ever meet his gaze, don't blink, don't turn away. And whatever you do, don't breathe.